Done.
Done. Okay, good. There we are. There's the verse we are discussing today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This morning we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 85, verse 51. Smaron Gita Parisvanga Patanga Kshudra Brit Gridi Sad ime mat prasadena Punar yasyanti sadgatil. By my grace, these six, Smara, Udgita, Parisvanga, Patanga, Kshudrabrit, and Gridi, will return to the abode of pure saints. Who's the speaker? It's Krishna. And he's referring to these. Cool. We'll read the purport. Purport, my disciples of Srila Prabhupada, these are the names of the six children. Sorry, these are the names the six children first had when they were sons of Marichi. The eldest, Smara, was called Kirtiman when born again to Vasudeva, as recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.57. Quoting the verse, Kirtimantam pramatmajam kamasyana kadundibi arpayam asha krishnena sordritad ativa vivala. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by the fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son named Kirtiman into the hands of Kamsa. So, before coming on this class, I researched how to unshare. And all the directions said there is a button at the top of the page that you're sharing, and there's a green line that will say unshare, and you click it, and it's not there. So I apologize for that. I actually did research and prepare. Oh well, that is disappointing. So without being able to unshare as my research and all the directions said I would be able to, I'll just keep talking. And you're going to see the Bhagavatam verse displayed there.
Sri Prahlad Prabhu, can you turn on your camera? I accidentally turned it off.
Oh, okay.
Tried to stop your screen share.
Yep.
It didn't work. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. That's just, I need to go to deeper settings or something to find out why that happens. So we are being given a list of names of personalities, six sons of Devaki, but Krishna is revealing their names from when they were sons of Marichi. And as we've been learning in previous verses, previous discussions, these six sons of Marichi have been cursed by Brahma for an offense made to him. They became six sons of Hiranyakashipu. Brahma said, your mentality is demoniac, so you become demons. And so they appear as six sons of Hiranyakashipu. And then Hiranyakashipu curses them. And my understanding is that the reason why he curses them is because they were detached from demoniac activities. So obviously some inclination is there. Therefore, Brahmas cursed them, but they weren't as demoniac as Hiranyakashipu would have liked. So he curses them that they'll be killed by their father. And so they're born as sons of Vasudev. They're not killed by their father, but by their uncle. Um, this was explained in previous verses that you have read, we have read as a class. Kamsa kills each of them at birth. Now Krishna is, at the request of Devaki, he's gone to the lower planetary systems, to the place of Bali, where these 6 sons are residing with Bali Maharaj among the demons. And Krishna is saying they will be delivered, he's telling Bali, they will be delivered back to their post, as their exalted post as sons of Marichi. It's worth noting, Marichi, one of Brahma's sons, he's born from Brahma's mind. So that's relevant because Krishna is revealing the names of his sons. Born Brahma's son, born of his mind, Marichi, a great sage, and then his sons, they have these 6 names. Now, these names are neutral. Smara, smara is to remember. Udgita is to Gita is to sing. Udgita, like loud, boisterous singing in the performance of sacrifice. One of the 4 people performing the sacrifice is the Udgatri, the one who leads the chanting. Parisvanga is to hold on to a thing. Patanga is to be drawn to a thing. Kshudra Brit. Kshudra is lowly. Brit to focus on that which is down. And greedy is sentiment. So each of these names, they can have a negative expression. So they're qualities, essentially. They have a negative expression and a positive. Smara, when it is negatively focused, remembrance, then it's sensual obsession. You get an idea, an image, an impression in your mind. You can't let it go. And there it is. And we have an expression, we say, sorry for the imagery. We might say something and then realize, well, that was a bit graphic, a bit explicit. And we have created a samskara, an impression in the mind. And so smara, remembrance of that which of an attachment, sensual obsession, then that can be cause of downfall. Sons of Marichi, what have they focused on? Brahma's downfall, Brahma's mistake. Brahma, he's done many great things. The great creator. He's met Vishnu. He has received the Vedas from Vishnu. But then there was this moment of weakness. He chased after Vak with lusty intention. And then these 6 sons, they have fixated Smara. He's remembering, oh, Brahma did that bad thing. And Udgita, prideful speech, talk about it, gossip. Did you know what Brahma did? Oh, yes, he met Vishnu. Yes, he imparted the Vedas to humankind. He created, no, but that's not what Udgita's talking about. No, he chased his daughter. So among all of Brahma's great acts, this son of Baricha, Udgita, with his prideful speech, is highlighting Brahma's momentary lapse. Parisvanga, clinging to an illusion. Patanga is like a moth drawn to fire. So That example is given in other places in the Bhagavatam, how the moth is drawn to fire to its death. And in the same way, the eyes, the moth is given as the example for the eyes. When we want to see, something that is that causes the downfall of the yogi. Pornography is a big issue in society today, especially with the internet. Yeah, so Patanga. Brahma has his momentary lapse. Patanga, he's what is it? When somebody, voyeurism, right? Patanga, he wants to see what Brahma is engaged in. Kshudra Brit, petty distractions, or like the fly is interested in garbage. So rather than the bee pursuing the beautiful lotus flower, fragrant flowers, the fly buzzes around the garbage. So Kshudra Brit, obsessing over petty things, petty distractions. And then greedy is sentiment, sentimentality, getting overwhelmed by a thing, by sentiment. Now, of course, in bhakti, these things are neutral. So in the Bhagavatam, names have meaning. When Hiranyakashipu is called Golden Bed, it's because he's obsessed with sex life, material opulence and sex life. And when his brother is called Golden Eye, Hiranyaksha, it's because he's obsessed with money. And so these 6 sons of Marichi, their names are significant. Krishna is revealing their names here. Smara, Udgita, Parismanga. They have gone on the negative path by obsessing over Brahma's lapse. That needs to be reversed. So the smara, that which we remember, needs to be a remembrance of Krishna. The udgita, that which we talk about, needs to be glorification of Krishna, needs to be kirtan. The Gita, the song, should be singing of Krishna's qualities, kirti. The parisvanga, that which we cling to, we should be clinging to embracing Krishna. We should embrace Krishna, embrace Krishna's devotees. When you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya, he embraces his devotees quite frequently. It surprised me on a recent rereading, that element of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. The patanga, that which we are drawn to, needs to be not the moth drawn to the fire of destruction, but we need to be drawn like Kunti prays. May my mind be drawn to you naturally, like the river flows to this, like the river Ganges constantly flows to the sea. Let my mind just be drawn to you in the same way, Krishna. The Kshudra Brit, feeding off, rather than feeding off petty distractions, needs to be engaged in simple, humble service. Patram pushpam phalam tvayam. Offer me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water. So with serving with humility. And that greedy, the sentimentality, needs to become wise compassion, a wise care and concern. So these 6 qualities, these 6 names, yes, they refer to us. We can take them to refer to us. They can either be 6 distractions or 6 paths towards spiritual practice or upliftment. And this focus on 6 qualities, it is there in our tradition, hinted at here in this verse. Nowhere else are the 6 named. They're not mentioned earlier when when this pastime of Brahma's creation and then momentary distraction is described, just says the six, but it doesn't reveal their names. And then the six sons of Draupadi are also, their names are not given, just the first one, Kirtimon, as was mentioned in the purport. But here Krishna is revealing their names. And we see their names relate to six types of engagement of our mind and senses, or mental focus through the senses. And we see how they can be destructive or constructive. They can be distracting or they can be purified. Now, we can explore these six further because we are given lists of six by our acharyas elsewhere. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings in his prayer to the devotee, Chaya Bega Dobi, Chaya Dosha Sodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dasa. So Chaya means six. Chaya Satsanga Deho Heyamara Boshechi Sangera Asa. Please help me to subdue the six urges. Chaya Bega Dobi. To purify the six faults. Chaya Dosha Sodhi. Bestow the six good qualities. Chaya Guna Deho Dase. Give me the six kinds of association with the devotees. Chaya Satsanga. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is appealing to the devotee. I need your mercy, dear Vaishnava Thakur. Help me conquer the six urges, purify the six faults, cultivate six good qualities within six kinds of devotee association. So 4 groups of 6 given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this verse. And this is in fact, a summary of the first 4 verses of Upadeshamrita. That is Prabhupada translates as the nectar of instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami. So verse 1, Rupa Goswami says, Vachavegam manasakroda vegam, jiva vegam udarapasta vegam, etan vegan yo vishaheta dira, sarvam apimam prativim shashishyat. He says, one who can control their speech, the urges of the mind. So 6 urges. So the urge to speak, the urges of the mind, the urges of anger, and then the urges of the tongue and the belly and the genitals. He says, such a person is sarvam atimam, no, sarvam atimam, pritivim shashishyat. Such a person can initiate disciples all across the world. Sarvam apimam pritivim shashishyat. Pritivim, the Pritivim means the world, shashishyat, disciples. Such a person can take disciples all across the world if they can control the 6 urges: speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, genitals. In the next verse, Rupa Goswami, he describes 6 types of things. So these urges, they manifest as 6 faults that are destructive to bhakti. Bhaktir vinasyati. 6 things that are obstacles to bhakti or destructive to bhakti. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha sangatyagat sato vrite. Janasangaschalo yamcha sadbir bhakti vinasyati. Atyahara, eating too much, so overeating. Prayasascha means over endeavor for things that are very difficult to achieve. Prajalpa, idle talk. We had One of the six sons is Udgita, frightful speech. So Prajalpa is described by Rupa Goswami as an obstacle to bhakti. Niyamagraha or Niyamagraha, two things. Niyamagraha is mechanical ritualistic activity, thinking that to be spiritual, when we practice spiritual life as just rituals, over attached to rules and regulations, or the opposite of it is when we give up any consideration of adhering to the directives of scripture as rules and regulations. So both are problematic. Sangha, Jana Sangha, association with worldly minded people, lolya, greediness. He says these six bhaktir vinasyati, destroy bhakti. How do we overcome them? Rupa Goswami has a solution for us. Utsahan, he gives six things that are favorable to bhakti. Sadbir bhakti prasidyati. They are enthusiasm, utsahan, patience, nischaya, dharyat, confidence, tat karma pavartana, giving up that which is unfavorable to bhakti or accepting everything that is favorable. Sangatyagat, giving up unwanted association and taking the association of devotees. Sadbir bhakti prasiddhiti. And then how to cultivate them in the association of devotees. Very famous. Give gifts to devotees, receive gifts from devotees. Dadati pratigrihnati. Reveal your mind in confidence. Also be somebody to whom others can reveal their mind. Guhyam akyati prichati. So guhyam akyati, reveal, prichati, also inquire. Bhokte bhojayate cheva. Feed devotees, also receive invitations to take prasadam. Sadvidin priti lakshanam. These are six exchanges of love between devotees. So I realize there's a lot of lists, six, and it's difficult to remember all of those. But from this, we can take a principle that the urges of the mind expressed through the senses can be obstacles to bhakti, but then they can be rechanneled, redirected, not by shutting them down. That's how Prabhupada explains it in his purport, but by refocusing them positively in a devotional way. Refocusing them by engaging the senses positively with enthusiasm, with determination. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us the hint. Rupa Goswami gives us the hint. He brings it towards loving exchanges between devotees. And Rupa Goswami, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur reinforces this by making it his appeal to the devotee. Help me, dear Vaishnava Thakur. Chaya Bega Dobi, Chaya Dosha Sodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dase, Chaya Satsanga, Deho He Amar. Boshechi Shongera Ache. Dear devotee, help me with all of these. Help me with the six urges, the six faults. Help me to cultivate the six good qualities. And let me do this with you in six exchanges of love. There's, I think, the key for us. Lots of lists of six might be difficult for us to hold on to. Of course, one way to deal with that is to chunk down. Focus on one or two. Six, it gets too much for the mind. Oh, which one? But if you know, yeah, I have a problem with gossip. Let me focus there. I have a problem with anger. It's an issue. I have a problem with fixating on small faults of others, like pettiness. I have an issue with um, um, yeah, the tongue overeating. So what is it for you? That can also be helpful. If we take all six together, it can overwhelm us. But if we focus on one and see how that is causing offense to devotees, how it is posing as an obstacle to bhakti, how it is showing up as um, as a destructive force in our lives, and then seeking to turn that around. What's the positive expression of that? Can I turn my pettiness into um, humble service? Can I turn uh, my tendency to gossip into glorification, glorifying the good qualities of others? And but then the other hint, where is that devotee association, that devotee friendship, that devotee community where I can work on this, where I can cultivate this through loving exchanges, through loving service? Seek it out. Where I can turn my anger into compassion. How can I cultivate that in a Bhaktivinoda? I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song is really a key for us. He's appealing to the devotee. Dear devotee, let me cultivate these things in your association. Let me overcome the urges and the faults. Let me cultivate the good qualities, those things that are favorable to bhakti, exchanging six kinds of love in your association. I think it's very significant. Um, Bhakti begins with association with devotees, but it doesn't just begin, it's cultivated in association with devotees. Without the association of devotees, we don't have access to bhakti. And without the association of devotees, it's difficult to cultivate bhakti, to nurture bhakti, to nourish bhakti. And so while these six bad qualities, we understand how they are destructive, we also see how they can be constructive when rechanneled. But in this, the mercy, the guidance, the support, the association of devotees is critical. I've been reading the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam again recently. And Krishna he tells Uddhava how to cultivate bhakti. He lists different bhakti practices, and then he says that you cultivate this in the associate, or you receive this through the mercy of devotees. And then he says, in every age, my devotee appears, or in every age, my devotee um, appears in all different species and situations. And I've quoted this many times. I just reread it a few days ago, and I read the purports of the acharyas. And so Krishna says, my devotees appear among the demons and among the birds and among the beasts and among the plants and among Vaishyas and Sudras and all different. And then he lists names. He says demons like Prahlad and Bali, and animals like Jambavan and Hanuman, and birds like Jatayu uh, and Sampati. And then I reread it, and the purports say all of these people became devotees by the mercy of devotees. And then they give the lists. They give the relationships. They say Prahlad became a devotee by the mercy of Narada Muni. He says Jambavan and Hanuman became devotees by the mercy of Lakshman. He says Jatayu became a devotee by the mercy of Garuda. Manasura became a devotee by the mercy of Lord Shiva. Let's see who else was mentioned there. But Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they go through, they trace all the names of all those people. What about Kubja? Kubja is also mentioned. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in a previous verse, Kubja also got the mercy of Narada Muni. And then Krishna is mentioned among women. The gopis are my super excellent devotees. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, those gopis who are not Nityasiddha, but came into the pastimes, they were able to do this because in their previous life, they got the mercy of the other devotees who were sages among the sages of Dandakaranya. Like this, every person that Krishna mentions as his devotee among all those lists of beings, our acharyas, they reinforce the point that they were able to achieve this status as a bhakta, as a devotee of Krishna, by receiving the grace and mercy of another devotee. So I'll bring it back around. I'll conclude by saying Krishna has given us a list of names, these 6 sons of Marichi, currently in the place where we're reading, 6 sons of Devaki. They are qualities, smara, remembrance. So can be destructive or constructive. Udgita, speech. Parisvanga, clinging or holding on to. Patanga, drawn to something. Kshudrabrit, focusing on that which is smaller than. And greedy, sentiment or feeling. These are qualities, 6 qualities that can be obstacles to bhakti or rechanneled as 6 qualities, sentiments that, or ways of being, mental states also expressed through the senses that can be favorable to the cultivation of bhakti. How are we going to make that change? How are we going to make that reversal? By the mercy of devotees and cultivated in the company of devotees. So there we conclude, leaving time for comments, reflections.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Fantastic class. Very important point. There's every possibility of falling short, of making a mistake, of falling down and having to suffer the consequences of our offense. And you perfectly explained that a misdirected activity can be corrected and replaced with appropriate activity. And we would just add what Srila Prabhupada tells us. The word thorough, the word absorbed, the word a total surrender. You have a boat, you have one hole in it, it's going to sink, right? And Christian people say, unless Jesus is the master of all, he's not the master at all. The lotus feet of the spiritual master is the only way to obtain pure devotional service. And that means totally giving ourselves under the shelter. If you have an umbrella and it's got a hole in it, if you've got, a boat with a hole in it, if you've got a life of devotional service with a hole in it, where you're just not absorbed moment by moment, giving every ounce of your strength, your time, your energy, your intention, your desire to this service given by the spiritual master, then at the moment when you deviate, you're walking on a tightrope. You can't fiddle around. Every step is important. Every single step. So what's recommended is surrender everything. We can play. One devotee, Kumar, was saying that they have these, what do you call them? It's a dog that has, in the natural state, he has a long tail, but Doberman Pinscher, they cut the ears. You've seen Doberman Pinscher with the pointed ears? They have flappy ears, but every single one of them, because it's like, that's the style, they cut all the ears, and they cut this tail. Doberman Pinscher has a stubby little tail. And he was saying, you might think, well, how painful for the poor dog to cut his tail. Let's just cut off one piece at a time. Just cut it off. Just cut it. So there's a point where in every one of these stories where somebody meets Guru and says, I surrender. And then that full giving of our life to the spiritual master gives us protection. Yes, Yasti Bhaktir Bhagavad Gita. But what's that verse? Yes, Yasti Bhaktir Bhagavad Gita. What's the translation?
Jeffrey Eckler, please Google the verse. What are the first lines?
Person who has full faith in Guru and Krishna and is absorbed in their service, all the good qualities will be manifest. You can think of a self-help program. I'm going to concentrate on my humility. I'm going to concentrate on my prajalpa. I'm going to concentrate. Forget it. Just absorb yourself in devotional service and everything else is there. As far as I know, that's the way Prabhupada taught us. And it was so radical that because most of the religious activities, like you go on Sunday, you do 15 minutes in the morning, but Prabhupada said, this is a life commitment. This is a full-time commitment. Go from one service to the other all day long and don't fiddle around with this, cutting off the tail one piece at a time. Anyway, I'm talking too
No,
much.
Srila Prabhupada did say one less cigarette a day, right? Didn't he say that? And you made a wonderful analogy yesterday about the shower. If somebody's taking shower, they may not be pure right away, but it's a gradual process, and there may be
They're
some
in the shower.
steps. Yeah.
They're fully absorbed in the process of cleansing, and then they'll get clean. Yogi Purush, I told him one time, Prabhu, I'm always in hot water. He said, then you will become very clean. Krishna wants us to give ourselves totally. Anyway, at least we know where we're going. I'm sorry I'm talking so long, Prabhu.
Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu.
So thank you very much, Adipurush Prabhu. Your point well taken. I would also add to that every one of us is an individual, and to say just surrender, just be Krishna consciousness. Absolutely. Every individual needs to find their way according to their nature. That's what Krishna is teaching Arjuna
Right.
in Bhagavad Gita.
But Madhangopal said recently, once you say, Lord, I'm yours, then Krishna will bring us from where we are to the perfectional stage. But we may not be there, but we say, Lord, I'm yours. And then the process will work.
Yeah. Okay. I would say it also needs to be applied with individual introspection, reflection, according to one's own nature as well. So absolutely, there is a general absolute principle: hearing, chanting, remembering, glorifying Krishna. They apply to everyone. At an individual level, we also need to understand what our particular nature is and apply it accordingly. Also understand what our particular conditions are. For some of us, it may be anger. For some of us, it may be lust that gets in the way, or it's gossip. And so, yes, apply hearing, chanting, remembering, glorifying, but also be conscious. Hey, Prabhu, hey, me, anger is really in the way here. I'm finding I'm making offenses to devotees. I need to know how to work on how to apply this specifically, or this specific expression of lust or greed or pride that's getting in the way. And Krishna will show it. So yes, Krishna's
Yeah.
it for us automatically. And there will be the painful knocks where lust embarrasses us or pride causes us to tumble and to be humbled. So having some self-reflection, introspection, and prayer specifically, I know has been helpful for me in my life as I observe what the obstacles are, my specific conditioning, and what specific obstacles are, and then apply the general practices with that prayer and intention to deal with specific anarthas or challenges
Right.
has been helpful. Bhima Prabhu's been very patient, holding his hand up there.
Here he comes.
Yeah. Haribo. I'm deep in the paddocks here, so I hope I can be at least. Let me see, how much time do I have here? Okay, plenty of time. Just very quickly, Prahlad. We noticed that in the Shastra that there is a listing of names. Even let's take the name of Krishna himself, and then on the opposite spectrum, Duryodhana. They have meanings,
Yeah.
and they have meanings, and this is to inform us. And we take these names there as Westerners, and because we don't automatically say one who does bad deeds,
Right.
etc. We sometimes may lose a connection with what is it that makes Shastra transcendental?
Right.
What is it that Shastra is trying to reach within us? And this leads back to your comment that we need to have introspection. We need to contemplate. We even need, even though Prabhupada advised somewhat against it, but ultimately the word just be sincere, the saying just be sincere, means that we have to actually come to that point where we're facing ourselves and saying, okay, why the hell am I in this material world? How did I get here? What's happening? What is this reflective of? I want beauty, and beauty fades, or it's very cruel. Or I want wealth, but it can disappear overnight, et cetera, et cetera. So, as Adi was saying, just engage in devotional service, which is sort of, sometimes it feels like saying, just accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and everything will work out. And we always have to remember, I feel, Prahlad, as you have spoken here, you're trying to get us to understand that subconscious level that devotional service starts with devotion, and devotion only begins at purity. And purity, of course, is the force, but it's also the fire. And I think trying to bridge the gap between just engage in devotional service, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to see that the devotees are characters, they're individuals, as we say in Bhakti Center, or as they say at the Bhakti Center, we're radical individualists. So you get to know that everybody has a unique character, and everybody has a story, and everybody's going through it, and everybody, as you said, Prahlad, has individual trials and tribulations that they must face in this ephemeral theater to get our schooling, to get our schooling, so that we don't go back, and that this is a process, and it's all leading to that point where devotion, which I would think, and Prahlad, you can correct me, um, uh, I would think that devotion was a spontaneous thing, like the spontaneous feeling of when a boy, an innocent boy, meets an innocent girl, and they just love each other. They just like they get a crush on each other, like and is that not the process of why we're not only learning our lessons but reading scripture so that we can understand how attractive Krishna is, and just how rebellious a love of gold and soft beds is because we're simply deluding ourselves. Hare Krishna.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Yeah, nice reflections, and thank you for highlighting that point. The names in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is rich literature, as it's transcendental literature, but it's also very rich from a literary point of view. It can be analyzed like that, and so all the names, they are significant and they have meaning. And Jeffrey Archer has done a nice seva here, has gone through and listed the 6 names of the sons of Marichi and given their translations and some further reflection on those 6 names. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Is it darshan time in the
Yeah.
temple room, Adipurusha Prabhu?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, dear devotees, darshan time, please put on your best look. Turn on your camera. Prashant Prabhu, welcome back.
Bow down to the Lord, great awe and reverence. By His grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering. And obtain mercy. Originating from His lotus mouth. Attachment to His lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my will, birth after birth. From an ecstatic flame I emanate. My ignorance is destroyed. Vedic scriptures sing His character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy. Friend of the poor, all master of mercy. Take shelter. God.
Hare Krishna, Arjuna Prabhu. Okay, welcome to the Afterglow. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, you have a few minutes? We might have some questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Bhima Prabhu, your hand. Thank you, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Bhima Prabhu, is your hand up right from before? Or it's a new? We see Bhima Prabhu has been working on his humility and anger, right?
No, I haven't been working on it. Krishna's
Yeah,
been
Krishna made
working
him
on me.
perfect. Yeah. Oh, Krishna is working on Bhima.
Yeah, and not I didn't want humility. He humiliated me. That's what will happen, right? Right.
I've
And if
felt,
you're looking for
I've
love,
got a thing.
Krishna will give you love too. I wanted to just say one thing very quickly, Prahlad, that this gap between just do your devotional service and everything will be revealed from within, which is true because that's what it says in the Bhagavad Gita. And I think everybody on this call can understand how all of a sudden we go, Eureka, that's how I'm supposed to look at things. And, it's sort of like it's that little lamp that flashes on and we see clearly as if through a glass darkly and then face to face, we face the truth of ourselves, and within facing the truth of ourselves, we get to see Krishna's involvement in our lives. And speaking of that, when Adi says over and over and over again, and we sing as we cut out from into this afterglow, the lotus feet of the spiritual master is everything. Can we not also understand that we do have this overarching mission that the lotus feet of the spiritual master of Prabhupada is saying, do what is necessary to just be sincere, and in that sincerity, learn to love God, ultimately, because you can't give what you don't have. So are we not also to see that in that overarching mission, and then also in that overarching truth, which is Krishna everywhere, that we should also see Guru everywhere and at all times, and also Chaita Guru? Are we not supposed to surrender to the lotus feet of Chaita Guru as well? That is, finally listen to that still small voice within that resonates with Shastra, that resonates with Sadhu, and that voice, instead of just running, oh, my guru's coming into town, I got to find out. I remember I drove halfway across America to get to Radhanath Maharaj to get a mission from him. Just give me a mission, give me something to do, to lose myself in, because if I don't have a mission, I'm going to get lost, because my mind's telling me something else. So could you just elaborate a little bit on that, seeing if it is to that we should be seeing Krishna at all times and in all things? Is it not that we are also seeing Guru and Guru's mission in our choices at that moment to either promote or drag down or be complacent in the mission of Prabhupada? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhima Prabhu, you raise, as always, interesting and important points. Two things came to my mind as you were talking. So, with regards to Chaitya Guru, the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam has the Bhikshu Gita, which is Dattatreya, who's an incarnation, or at least a partial incarnation of Krishna, Dattatreya, who sees 24 gurus in nature. How does that come to be described? Krishna tells Uddhava, you wander through the world with attachment. And Uddhava says, well, how do I do that? I have attachment. And Krishna tells Uddhava, you listen to Guru in the heart, Chaitya Guru, and through Chaitya Guru, you will be able to understand, take instructions from the world itself. You will be able to take lessons and guidance from life itself. And then he tells the story of Dattatreya, who once met Yaru, Krishna's ancestor. And Yaru asked Dattatreya, who's your guru? And Dattatreya said, well, let me tell you. My guru is the river that runs towards the sea, overcoming all obstacles. My guru is the moth that flew into the flame because of attachment. My guru is the fish that bit on the hook and got baited, leading to its destruction, teaching me that the tongue must be controlled. My guru is, and he described a prostitute named Pingala who became detached from, or just frustrated from trying to enjoy material pleasure, and at some point just saw through it all. My guru is a girl who broke her bangles when she was preparing some refreshments for some guests that she didn't want to disturb them. And then so from that he learned to break those attachments that cause disturbance to others. So like this, Dattatreya described 20, I think it's 24 gurus in nature. But how he learned from nature was through an interpretation, because we see the same things and we don't have the lesson. But the interpretation was revealed within his heart, so that he had that Shastra Chakshus. He could see the world, and by the guidance of Paramatma, and I think his own discipline and realization and learning at the feet of his guru, he was able to go out into the world and continue to be instructed and to be situated in transcendence. So then to your point, the mission of the spiritual master. Yes, we take the mission, we take the teachings. The brahmachari learns in the school of the guru, brahmachari, guru kule, vasandanto gurur hitam, Prahlad Maharaj tells us. And then in the Vedic teaching, the brahmachari graduates and goes out into the world, recognizing that there's still attachment and there's a need for being situated properly as a grihasta. But it's not grihabedi, but grihasta. Why? Because having received training from guru, then one enters into family life as a ashram, grihasta ashram, where one continues to learn. One continues to learn based on what one has received from guru, and then applies that in life and learns the lessons of life based on that training, that instruction. They're able to see the world and experience life as practical training in the teaching received from guru. That life becomes the school of life. And so life is teaching us, but it's guru who's teaching us. When, what is his name? Bilva Mangala Thakur was chastised by the prostitute Chintamani, he got that, aha, okay. She said, if you were as infatuated with God as you are infatuated with me, you would be a saint. And he goes, aha, that's what my guru is teaching me. Chintamani now is my guru. She has verbalized something that I had learned early on from my own spiritual master, but couldn't understand. Now my guru is speaking to me again through this prostitute, Chintamani. And he became fully detached and walked to Vrindavan, of course, with another distraction along the way that he was able to overcome. So, yes, Chaitya Guru instructs us through our experiences in the world, but it's based on earlier training and surrender and submissive service and inquiry at the feet of the living Guru that we take into our heart, and then we go into life and about life continuing to hold those teachings. So Prabhupada, he was reading the Bhagavad Gita and he read a verse. It was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, I think, to Tadvini Pranipatena. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, you should take the order of the Guru as your life and soul. And Prabhupada read it and he says, what is my Guru's order? He's a Grihastha businessman in Bombay. And he thought, what is my Guru's order? And he remembered the very first meeting where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, preaching in the English language. He said, okay, that's my order. That's my life and soul. And so he started an English periodical. He started to think, how as a businessman now living in life, I can apply this instruction and make it one with my heart. And then at the right time, he was able to dedicate even more fully to that instruction. Actually, even just days before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati left this world, he wrote another letter to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and said, you have so many close disciples and they're doing such nice service for you. What's my service? How can I please you? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's response arrived and he said, preach in the English language. So the first meeting and the last meeting, first instruction and final, like days later, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had left. And so Prabhupada had this instruction reinforced for him. But then he's thinking through life how to apply it. And he takes different initiatives with Back to Godhead and supporting his godbrothers and helping to publish their books as well at some point. So he's meditating on how to fulfill that instruction. But then life itself becomes a guru speaking to us through life when we hold that instruction as one with our heart. And that's the Chaitya Guru, the internal guru, manifest as the externally as a physical guru, who we train under, take guidance from, and then as we go through life, we keep hearing their voice through all of life's lessons. So,
Wow, everyone can please Krishna in whatever platform they're on if they're doing their humble best. The criteria is pleasing Krishna and Guru. We take that instruction and we try. And Krishna's pleased. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Your answers are always shastric, and we feel confident that the answer that we're receiving is bona fide, and we can take it in safely. Thank you, Sri Prahlad Prabhu.
thank you. Ananda Vihari, you're always full of encouragement.
I'm full of other things too, but I'm in the association of the devotees, and I'm happy. Krishna Kumari had her hand up. This will be the final comment or question or voice crack.
Well, no eyes cracking today. No, I really like hearing you speak. I love how you prepare. Some things it just feels like you're living and like singing it, like as a part of your being. And today I felt like you that was there, but also the preparation. I did have a question that isn't so like lovely that I tried to ask the other day, and then you brought up today also that Brahma was like chasing his daughter. So there's these kind of like things like the other day, the verse, my Bhagavatam's upstairs, but was about one of the sons in a past life, wanted to have sex with one of his daughters. So like this is one of those heavier questions. I didn't know if she was like, I was like, wow, why'd she get stuck with this verse? But then she didn't speak on that at all. Of course, it's not something, but so I just feel like you're somebody also that's very qualified to, I'm sure you've thought of these things. Whereas for me, it's like, it's more like these unspoken things that are in the Bhagavatam and then nobody discusses. And it could kind of sit heavy somewhere in your psyche, that these things are there and then nobody talks about them. So I was just wondering if you could speak to that since you also brought it up slightly.
Yeah, well, Sukadeva Goswami speaks to it. That's the amazing thing, that it is there. So Sukadeva Goswami is not glossing, but he's there telling us what happened with Brahma very, very early on. And it's super embarrassing and it's super uncomfortable and it's a major discretion. And how it's dealt with is very instructive to us. So Brahma's sons, they approach him and say, Father, Guru, this is most inappropriate. Stop it now. So Brahma's created, he's created one of his creations, among all of his creations, one of them is Vak, which is fine speech, which is feminine. And so he's bewildered by this. He's an intellectual, it seems. He's bewildered by the beauty of this fine speech, the poetry and the elegance of this. And so he chases after her, and his sons and disciples, like, what does that do to their faith? And he's also we're in his line of teachers and disciples. So what does it do for faith? They approach him and they say, no other Brahma has ever behaved like this before. It's not appropriate. Stop, please. But you read the verses, they're very respectful, but they're also on point. They don't gloss it. Brahma doesn't hear them. He's not able to take their guidance, because when we're overcome by lust and anger and greed, it consumes us. And our better judgment says, don't do this. Like anger, don't say it, or don't hit, or don't, or so when lust overcomes us, don't do it, but we're just driven. And so Brahma, he can't stop himself, he can't hold himself back. And so what his sons do is very instructive for us. Now, Maricha is among these sons. His sons misbehave, they mock. But Maricha and his peers, how they deal with the situation. First, they approach Brahma and ask him, like, try to guide him, their own guru and their own father. The second thing they do is they pray. It's like, we tried and we're not able to get through to him. Krishna, you please help him. I think that's so wonderful. They pray to Krishna to give intelligence and guidance to their father and guru, who is acting inappropriately. When Brahma sees them praying for him, that's what hits him. That's what wakes him up. That's what shakes him up. So they could have dealt with this in a very different way. They could have said, we demand Brahma be removed. We demand a new creator. Krishna, this guy is unqualified. Kick him out, give us another Brahma. They could have dealt with this in very different ways, but they prayed for him. Brahma came to his senses, and then he's very, very ashamed. And he's very remorseful. And it says he casts off his body. Acharyas say his mental body. Yeah, they cast off his mental body. So he casts off that state of being, that frame of mind, that attitude, that intention, that inclination. Embarrassment is a great teacher as well. He reforms himself, and then he gets back to his service, and everyone understands, okay, yeah, there was a problem. He dealt with it, and he's reinstated. He returns to service with humility, chastened, and he continues on. So I think, yeah, should be discussed. There's so much to be explored here, and it's instructive for us in so many ways. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you.
Krishna Kumari, wonderful question. When you need to pray for somebody, just make sure they see you praying for them.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them feel your love. I think that's the feel your care and love. Not like, I'm gonna pray for you. That's yeah, that's when we use words as weapons.
Yeah, love is what gets everyone.
Uh-huh.
So let's be agents of love that Srila Prabhupada has for all of us. Jai, Sri Prahlad
So what
Prabhu.
does it mean? What
Interjection.
does
Here
it
comes
mean when they
interjection.
say, yes, I need to know, I need to know? What does it mean, the saying, because all sayings have some element of truth. Um, he doesn't have a prayer. So is that false? Is that like saying, what is it? Impossible is the word in a fool's dictionary. Um, so is that along those lines? But what does he doesn't have a prayer? What does that mean?
Hopeless?
Yeah, I don't know that expression. A saint that doesn't have a prayer?
He or she, they've involved themselves in some kind of activity that to which um, karma is cycling back on them,
Uh,
and it's kind of already the moment the tsunami has already reached the beach, and you
uh-huh,
don't have a prayer of not being swept up.
okay.
So yeah, so what's a Krishna conscious way of viewing that idea that here's the tsunami, I'm on the beach, I'm going to get washed away. In fact, I'm watching my whole world, my whole life get washed away as if it was a lie. Um,
Yeah.
Tell me about Krishna in that.
Yeah, so for us, that's our question in those moments is, what is Krishna teaching me? Because we accept that everything that happens to us is Krishna's mercy. Whatever it is, we take it. Someone was mentioning it earlier. I think it was you. When you say, Krishna, I am yours, then you're under Krishna's care. So then once we're under Krishna's care, whatever happens to us, we say, this is Krishna's mercy. And so when we are on the beach and the tsunami's before us, we say, okay, Krishna, how is this how is this an expression of your mercy? What am I to learn from this? Or how am I to understand this or experience this in my relationship with you? And that becomes our question. And it's a different question. We're always feeling Krishna's protection, even in those moments of struggle and difficulty. So yeah, our prayer there is not that Krishna necessarily take this away, like Parikshit Maharaj. He doesn't say, Krishna, please remove the snake's curse. His is, okay, this is your mercy, come to me now. How am I going to face this? How am I going to um, experience this as mercy?
How can I serve you under this circumstance?
Mhm. Under this tsunami, that's Gajendra's story, right? The water, the danger, it's all there. And what did Gajendra do? He grabbed a lotus flower and offered it to the Lord. So when you see that tsunami coming at you, Bhima Prabhu, as soon as it gets right above you, grab a lotus flower, offer it to Krishna, and see what happens. And
Dude,
pray
I
for
was
me.
already
Pray for
swept
me.
out to.
Okay.
I'll pray for you from my island in the ocean where I was swept out to.
Please. Jai, thank you. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Prahlad Prabhu Ki Jai. Bhakti Center Community Ki Jai. We love you. We need you. Thank you for you. Hare Krishna.